Ready, rolling, action. Uh, what object did the? Can you just say like what the object means to you and like the history of it?
So this necklace is from Tibet, and my mom gave it to me as a present. And when I was little, so I'm Chinese. Although I went to school in the UK, US, and studied in France, but so when I was in China when I was little, Tibetan culture influenced me a lot. And when I grew up, I wanted to become a Tibetan. So I grew up to be a wild girl that wanted to to sit on a horseback. So and that's why this necklace meant a lot to me because the long time influence the culture had on me and kept me thinking of the spirituality, the culture of Tibet as a minority group of China and some sort of related to China but not related to China, similar but different. Um, and the history of this. So, do you want to know the history of Tibet as well, or
Well, I was gonna ask you. So when you look at the object, it brings back memories.
it brings back memories of two folds. The first one is what my mom, so it's a mom's present, so it definitely reminded of me of my mom. And she, because she's a Buddhist, I'm non-religious. I'm very spiritual, but I'm not religious. But she's a Buddhist, so she sent this. She brought this necklace and sent this necklace to a temple, Tibetan temple, and asked the monk to pray and like add blessings to this necklace. So carrying this necklace with me is like a symbol of blessing, and it just reminded me of my mother and always carry it with me. Because I'm afraid of anything negative or dark or whatsoever, like kind of just dissipate this negative energy.
So are you superstitious?
Not really, but I'm really spiritual, so yeah. So yeah, maybe superstitious a little bit, but not. Um, how do you say? Well,
Not crazy.
not crazy. Yeah, exactly. Like I believe that something other than human beings exist, maybe or maybe not. So, but just in case.
And how long have you had the necklace?
Not long. Um, Several months since November last year, and only because a few things before, like some in September, October, that happened in New York, that made me, because I'm non-religious as I told you, so I wasn't really into those kind of things before. But some things happened in September or October in New York, when I moved into a flat and the flat was haunted. That really kept me to high alert, to high alertness. So anyway, so and then my mom gave me this necklace in November, um, and it's kind of cool. It's also a cool design, so I just carried it with me. But that was one fold of why this object meant um, something to me.
And
It's
then,
one fold.
what kind of responses do you get from people who look at the necklace when you wear it? What do they say?
It depends where I am. Um, so it depends where I am. So when I'm in China, when I carry this, because I'm really tall and um, look slightly different from normal Chinese women. So many people, if I carry this with me, many people ask me if I am a Tibetan or not, and if I'm elsewhere. I think not actually, not many people like spot it at the first sight. I don't know why, but if somebody sees this necklace, they were like, "Oh, this is cool. So what's this language and what does that mean?" And I'll tell them, so this is a Tibetan symbol, and Tibetan means a lot for me, like to me when I was a kid, and also a mom's present. And then people would be like, "Oh, this is really cool. This is really special." But I haven't. I think I've got more praises on my outfits in general rather than this specific necklace. I have no idea why.
Okay. And then, have you been attached to objects since you were little? Like, because they gave you this necklace in November, only 5 months, and it means that much to you in this short amount of time. So, if you have objects longer, do you have any other objects that are, do you have them longer that mean more to you, or is it just because?
Mm, yes or no, because for me, whatever. So I'll tell you, on my body, everything. So this is a gift from a friend in Iran. This from my mom as well from November in Tibet. That's gifts from my mom as well. But I'm a really bad girl, so I kept losing valuable things through time. Like in a party one day, and I lost a necklace. In a party another day, I lost a earring. So things didn't stay with me that long. But they are the value of it of my accessories. They're the same. From friends that meant something to me. From a specific culture that I had a good memories, or I constantly give back, contribute, or something important to me, and something that's stylish and cool, and you can't buy them elsewhere.
Okay, and then what, like, like when you think, like when in your mind, it's an abstract question, but when in your mind you think about the necklace, what do you picture? What do you see?
I see
Do you see the image clearly of it? Like,
of this necklace very clear, because I haven't finished the first question. I would say because this necklace has two meanings. Like the first fold is my mom's present, but that's actually a slightly lighter meaning. The heavier meaning behind it is Tibetan, and when I think about Tibetan, it has many heavy meanings. Not only just because I grew up wanted to become a Tibetan, to be wild and run on the plateau whatsoever, like a maybe a symbol of freedom. But another meaning is because in Tibetan culture and spirituality or religion, death is a really important topic, and people think of death as something like, because in a Western society or in modern society in general, no matter it's in Middle Eastern, Eastern or Western, you or many other people, we don't really think about death. But like nobody gonna think of, oh, tomorrow, what if I die tomorrow in a car accident or whatsoever. And it seems like people enjoy the moment, hedonism, more than thinking about death. But death is the ultimate eventuality of all the human beings. So everybody should think of death, and that's what Tibetan spirituality mean to me. Like when you think about death, like what if I died tomorrow, and how do you want to die? And Tibetan culture means you want to die in peace and calmness. So your family members or your friends shouldn't cry too much around you when you die. Otherwise, you won't. You will feel too much attached to this human world, and rather than leaving this human world, like you see your friends sad and your family sad. So every time when I think about this necklace, I think something abstract and deep, and the image that comes to my mind is death, but it's a peaceful death. And by die peacefully, you want to live your life the best you can, like happy, in peace. And living and death, they're the same. It's the same thing, it's just in different forms. But anyways, that refers to a book in Tibet. It's called the Tibetan Book of Living and Dying. It's a very famous book. The book also has a lot of stories like around it, and some are scandalous. But anyways, the image of this necklace means death to me, and which means the ultimate meaning of life.
okay, and then do you love the necklace?
I love it.
And what does that mean to love it? Like,
To love it for threefold. First, my mom's love, family, people. It reminds me all the beautiful things in my life, and that's the best thing of being a human. And second, Tibetan culture, something influenced me. And the third thing, well, it's gold and it's pretty valuable, so it means it, like by materialistic value, it means a lot.
oh, okay, okay, and then and what is the first object you remember that you cared about? Like going back to your childhood, the first object you saw, just like something you saw that was like, oh, I can have that object, or it's mine, like, because that is. Do you think like that is your necklace?
Not necessarily. So the first object I remember, or not remember, but I've obtained their memories from the mouth of my family surroundings. So we had a tradition in the family. So when the kid was a month old, and you put a bunch of objects in front of him or her, and he or she gonna grab those objects, and that object has some sort of foretelling um, what this kid will become in the future. So, so my mom put a bunch of objects in front of me. Some people like some babies they will like grab I don't know like a sword or something, and then this kid can become a warrior. But anyways, so I grabbed a pen, and when I was little, I enjoyed writing a lot. And after a few years, so I picked up my writing hobbies or habits and kept the writing, creating something. So a pen, something that represents creativity, thinking, like deep thinking, is the first object I remember.
Okay, so like a pen. So it's like, it, do you feel like, y- like, so a pen was important to you because, why was a pen important? Because of because it reminded you of the fact that you could write, or that it gave you the ability to write and express yourself, and like.
Mm, well, not necessarily that. Writing is a tool. It's more independent thinking. I'm very sure in my life, because I've done some exercise whatsoever to find out why are you living in this world for. And my answer is that I want to think independently, and my whole life is pretty much a representation of that. To always think out of the box and question and ask why for anything in life.
Okay, so okay, now going back to the other question. So, uh, I mean, how do you do relationship towards objects? For example, do you think you own the objects? Do you think like where do you see the necklace in the future? Like, is it? Would you like who would you like to give it to? What would happen to it after you die and like stuff like that? Do you ever think about that?
I do. Well, I feel like from my track record, I probably will lose it, because I've built a really stubborn track record of losing valuable items, very likely. But if not, I would like to. I feel like because I don't wear it every day. Like some other days, I just feel like fashionably I want to wear this or some other things. So and frankly, I don't really wear this often because this necklace looks quite exotic, unless I'm working on fields. Like if I'm shooting a film in Iran, I wear this to show that I'm exotic and I'm like in that exotic spirit. But back to New York, I don't feel that exotic. I'd rather feel sexy, fashionable. So I don't really wear this often, and so it kind of just stays in my room or something like that. So I feel like a few outcomes of it. So 80% of the chance I'll lose it, 10% of chance. I don't know if I'm gonna give it to somebody. Maybe I'll give it back to my mom. If someday I just get really tired of it and don't want to wear it never again, and 10% of chance where I want to carry this into my deathbed. Maybe.
Okay, and then have you thought about the fact that like all objects will outlive us? So like you, and then also that is the necklace mass produced or is it one of a kind or do you know that?
It's one of the kinds. It's so this one is one of the kinds, but relating to what you said, objects will always out exist us. Well, may or may not. It depends on what kind of objects. Because when I die, I've pictured how I want to die ideally. I want to die peacefully when I'm old and just die like when I'm old. And after I die, I want to be burned down. So I don't want to live like bury myself in a mansion whatsoever. Because I come here as a zero, and I prefer to go as a zero. If I want to take anything with me, maybe a flower or maybe something.
Okay, great.